Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm recording my very first homework packet video to help you guys with some of these problems. Now I'm only going to be doing the odd problems, and I want you guys to do the even problems. I'm hoping that me doing a couple of these is going to be helpful for you as you do them on your own. Okay, first thing is this entire page are exponents being multiplied together with like bases. And so using my knowledge or using my notes, I know that this entire first page is going to be product of powers. Product means multiply. But with product of powers rule, I add the exponents. Not add the coefficients, but add the exponents. So 3 times 6 times 8, I need to do in my calculator. 3 times 6 times 8 is 144. That's going to be my coefficient. We add the exponents. R squared, r to the third power, and r. 2 plus 3 plus 1 equals 6. So that means my final answer is 144 r to the sixth power. Number 3, 6 times 3 is 18. A to the third power times a squared, 3 plus 2 equals 5. My final answer, 18a to the fifth power. Number 5, 3 times 7 times 2. 3 times 7 times 2, 42. X squared, x to the fourth power, and x. 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 7. Final answer. 2 times 8, 16. Y to the fourth power, y squared. Nothing other than x to the third power. Put your variables in ABC order. 4 plus 2 is 6. Final answer. 8 times 8, 64. A squared, a to the third power, a to the third power. 2 plus 3 plus 3 equals 8. So 64, a to the eighth power. B times b squared times b to the fourth power. 1 plus 2 plus 4 equals 7. Final answer. 4 times 8, 32. X squared, just by itself. Y squared times y. 2 plus 1 is 3. Y to the third power. Careful with this one. 8 times 8, 64. And then I have u and v. Let's figure out what our values are. I have u to the negative 2 and u to the fourth power. This one's tricky. Negative 2 plus 4, we're still adding our exponents, is positive 2. V to the fourth power, v squared. 2 plus 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. Final one on this page. 7 times 5 times 6. 7 times 5 times 6. 210. I told you anything to the 0 power is just 1, so these don't count. U to the negative 4 and u to the 3. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. We haven't done negative exponents yet, but that's still how this is going to work. And then I have just v to the negative fourth power left over. Final answer. That one was a tricky one, probably your spiciest one. Again, I'm just doing the odds. All of these down to the very bottom until number 33 are going to be power to a power. Look at your notes. Look at your notebook. That's what it looks like. Power to a power means that I multiply the exponents. So I've got to give the 3 to the 5 and to the x. So the 5 gets the 3 and the x gets the 3. 5 cubed is not 15. 5 to the, put the exponent in parentheses, is 125. 125 x to the 12th power, because I multiply the exponents. Distribute the 2, so the 3 gets the 2, and the r gets the 2. 3 squared is not 6. 3 squared is 9. R to the 6th power when I multiply. Give the 3. 7 to the 3rd power, and give the 3 to the x. 7 to the 3rd power. 343. X to the 9th power. Multiply, not add. Give the 3 to the 4, the x, and the y. The 4 gets the 3, the x gets the 3, and the y gets the 3. 4 cubed is not 12. 64. The 2 gets given to the a and the b. A squared, b to the 8th when I multiply. The 4 gets given to all 3. Careful with the negative exponents. The 8 gets the 4, the u gets the 4, and the v gets the 4. 8 to the 4th power is not 32. 4,098. 96. U to the negative 8, careful with your signs here. V to the 16. The 2 gets given to the 4 and the m. The 4 gets the 2, and the m gets the 2. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is just 16. I'll do that one in my head. M to the 4th power. The 3 gets given to the 2 and to the v. 2 to the 3rd power is not 6. 2 to the 3rd power is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. V to the 9th power when I multiply 3 times 3. Now this is getting into the division sign. This is quotient of powers, which means that I subtract the exponents. 2 divided by 4 gets canceled out into 1/2. X on top and 3x's on the bottom is going to look like this. Or 4x's on the bottom is going to look like this. Start canceling out. I'll leave my 2 right up here too. I have 3 x's left over in the denominator. So this becomes 1 over 2 x to the 3rd power. $35. 7 cancels, 7 cancels. R to the 3rd power is r times r times r. 1 on top, 1 on bottom. I'm left over with 2 r's, that's r squared. 5 and 3 don't divide evenly. Now I'm going to use the subtraction rule. So 5 and 3 are still going to stay. We subtract the exponents. There's an invisible 1 in the denominator if it's just a single 1. And 3 minus 1 equals 2. So r squared is going to be on the top. 5r squared over 3. 6 and 8 don't divide evenly. If you don't want to worry about what your common factor is, do 6 divided by 8 in your calculator. That gives it to you as a decimal. But once I push math below alpha and I convert it into a fraction, that gives me 3 over 4. So 3 on top and 4 on the bottom. I've taken care of my coefficients. I have 2 x's on the top and I have 3 x's on the bottom. How many will be left over? One of the x's will be left over and it's going to be on the bottom. I have 3 y's on the top and 4 y's on the bottom. Once I start canceling, I'm going to be able to cancel out all 3 on the top and 1 is going to be left over on the bottom. So my final answer is 3 over 4 xy. Number 41. 8 divided by 8 cancels. Y over y cancels. And I have 3 x's on the top. That would look like this. And 1 x on the bottom. I'm left with 2 x's in the numerator. This just becomes x squared. And this is where this gets tricky. Here I have power to a power rule. So I'm going to multiply the exponents. We're going to do power to a power first before we divide, because in order of operations, exponents, the 4, is going to come before division. So I'm going to give the 4 to all 3 of my terms. I'm going to keep the u to the negative 2, v squared, on the top. The 3 gets the 4. 0 times 4 for our u is just u to the 0, which is 1. So I don't need to write anything for the u's. And v, negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Now this is where this is going to get tricky. I have u to the negative 2, v squared, over 3 to the 4th power is 81. Careful here. We haven't done this yet, but negative exponents in the numerator need to go into the denominator to become positive. And if I subtract 2 minus a negative 4, using the exponent rule of quotient of powers for v squared over v to the negative 4, we would subtract those 2 exponents, but subtracting those 2 exponents gives you keep, change rule here, and this gives me a positive 6. So be careful here. I think I'm going to actually stop this video here, because this negative exponent needs to come down here to the bottom, and v to the 6th power would be a positive, so it would stay up in the numerator. That's where the positive exponents go. 81 is still in the denominator, and the u squared comes from the negative exponent in the numerator. I'm going to stop this video here so that way you guys don't get too confused before we start doing this kind of stuff later. So part 2 of the video is going to be coming soon. Hopefully that got you guys started.